Hello, folks. Welcome to Hands-On History. I'm Nancy Pennington, Coordinator of Youth and Family Programs here at the North Carolina Museum of History. Today we're going to be doing some looking, some thinking, and some making, and having some fun. Look closely at this object and take a moment to think about what you see. What do you notice? What do you wonder? What does it remind you of? This is a floor loom made for hand-weaving cloth. The loom was made by hand too, from wood, river cane, and string. This picture of a woman at her loom was taken over 100 years ago by a photographer named Margaret Morley. The most common fibers used for weaving in North Carolina were cotton, wool, and flax. What do you think she might be weaving? Here's a way to make your own loom out of cardboard. And here's your finished product. So, you need a piece of cardboard. Corrugated cardboard works best. A skewer, part of a skewer. A marker or pencil. Some yarn. Scissors. And tape. So the first thing you need to do is start your cardboard loom. And what you need is to make sure that you have an even number of lines on the top and the bottom. What I've done is I've used my ruler and I've made them about 1/4 of an inch apart. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. And then matching up on the bottom, like that, I have 8 on the bottom as well. So what I'm going to do is very carefully, I'm going to cut not too far down on all 8 of those lines on the top and all 8 on the bottom. And I'm going to choose which of my yarn is going to be my warp, the thread that goes up and down. And I'm going to use the green. So, leaving a nice long tail behind, I go through that first slot, all the way down to the same one on the bottom, all the way back up through the second slot. I'm not pulling too hard. If you pull too hard, you're going to bend the cardboard. So I'm wrapping it around, all the way around, back and forth. I leave a pretty good tail again. And take my handy dandy tape, 2 pieces. Tape one end down and tape the other end down. Move some of these things out of the way. Okay, so there's my loom. Now I need my weft thread, the thread that's going to go back and forth to make my woven design. Okay, now for this one, you need to measure out. Now I'm just going to measure pretty much, not an awful lot of yarn, and you'll see why in a moment. So you've been wondering what I'm going to use that skewer for. Well, that is going to be my shuttle, and the shuttle, as you can see here, is what you can pull the thread back and forth with as you are weaving. So I'm going to roll some tape around my skewer, and then the other end I will tape to the back of my loom. Okay. So to weave, I'm going to go under the first thread, a piece of yarn, over the next, under, over, under, over, under, over, pull, and I'm going to do the same thing. I started with an under over here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Under, over, under, over, under, over. I'm going to keep pulling. Now make sure when I get to the edge, I don't pull too tight because I don't want the yarn to pull in like that. So I make sure that I keep it pretty loose on the edge, just enough. And I just keep doing that over and over and over until I run to the end of my warp yarn. But I don't have to be finished there, of course. I can add more yarn on. Oh, see, I made a mistake. Sometimes you make a mistake. So here I think I need to go back. I'm going to undo what I've done. The handy thing about weaving is that if you make a mistake, you can undo it. There we go. Okay. See, that's as long as I want my piece to be. So what do I do with all of this extra yarn? Well, it's the same thing you would do as if you wanted to keep going, but you ran out of yarn. So what you would do is you would weave into the center, pull it through, again, not too tight. Then you take your needle and you push it just down through a couple of stitches down like this. Don't pull too tightly. There you go. And then you can cut off the end. There we are. Hide that in. There's one side. And you can do the same thing with the purple on the other side. Let's weave that through first. And then tape this. If I'd thought ahead, I would have made this a little bit longer, the tail of purple. Through it goes. Like that. Cut that off. Okay. Oh, do I want to leave it on my loom? Probably not. So, what I can do, I can just simply cut through the back. If I wanted to, I could take all of those pieces off here before cutting it. I can take all my pieces off like this. And down below, remove all my warp. And again, I can leave it like that. Or if I want to add sort of a tassel effect on the end, I can take 2 at a time of my warp threads and just tie them in a knot. Not a real tight knot, but enough of a knot like that. And tie the next 2 together. And the next 2 together. And those last 2 on the top. Okay, and of course, as you see, I could do this on the bottom as well. Now, what could I use this for? Well, let your imagination go. If I made my strings a little bit longer, it could be a wristband. It could be a bookmark. If you like miniature furniture, this could be a rug. It could be just what you would like it to be. You want to know more? Make more? Visit History at Home at our website, ncmuseumofhistory.org. See you next time on Hands on History.